Hey guys, welcome back to the Hermitcraft Modsauce server. It is episode 5 and I have got some absolutely amazing news to start off this episode. You should all be extremely excited about this. Just take a look around here. All of this could be yours. Now I'm not talking about the world. Sadly the world is for us hermits to play on, but the mod pack is completely available for download. It is open to the public. You can head onto the AT launcher and check it out down there. Because I tell you, I have had so many comments, emails, tweets. I've had carrier pigeons arriving at my house all asking when the mod pack is going to be available to the public. And I can tell you now, it is completely and utterly available. Now, I do just want to say a couple of things before we get too far into this. It's a beta, okay? Do not expect everything to run 100% smoothly. We are playing on a mod compiled of 200 odd very, very new mods. All of them have just been created because it is Minecraft 1.7.10. That means there are a few little teething problems. We seem to have fixed most of them, but I just want to say be careful, okay? Make sure that you back up your worlds quite consistently and just make sure that you keep everything secure and everything running properly, because otherwise you are going to encounter maybe a few potential problems in the future. So just watch out for that, but the mod pack is completely playable. We haven't met many huge bugs recently, so it all seems to be fairly stable. But anyway, that is enough of that. Head off, play the mod pack, then come back to this video and continue watching, because we have got some amazing plans today. You can see we have got this waypoint right here. Potential base, and it's only 100 meters away. Well, I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I plan on flying the roost today. I want to fly away from my base. I want to get away from that tiny little hole that we have in the ground where we really have crammed in everything that we possibly could. I've decided that I want to move away from there and go into this tiny little spot here. How cool is this? It's like a tiny little meadow in the forest. I think it's amazing and a perfect place for a future base of Mumbo Jumbo. So what I'm going to do is gather up a few resources and begin building. Now before we head out to the new base, I want to gather up a few resources, because my plan is that in the middle of the base we're going to have a big reactor. That is going to be the power source for everything else. So what I thought I'd do is gather up some of the bits and pieces that we need to make the big reactor before we even begin. Now, the first thing that we need for the reactor casing, if we just take a look up here, is we need graphite bars, we need iron, and also we need some yellorium. So I'm just taking a look around all of the chests that we have, taking a look. Is that yellorium? No, it doesn't look like it. It's a really bright yellow substance. There we go. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for. And I want to see if we put this into the pulverizer, does it actually do the job? So do we get 2 bits of yellorium per yellorite ore? Let's take a look, and it does look like that is the case. So that means that we can get ourselves tons and tons of yellorite and be able to fuel all of our big reactor. Then on top of that, we are going to need some graphite bars, which are made just by smelting coal, by the look of things. Bit of a strange thing to do. Usually it is the other way around, but I can definitely roll with that because we have got ourselves a whole ton of coal as well. So that's pretty good news. That means we can make ourselves an absolutely massive reactor without having to worry about any resources. This has taken ages. We really need to get ourselves some factories because, it's taken months. While we wait for all of this to do its thing, I thought we would crack on and do something else that needs doing. So we need to make ourselves a magma crucible so that we can turn redstone into liquid redstone, or distilled redstone, is that what it's called? Or disturbed redstone, I can't quite remember, but it's something like that. And what that will allow us to do is we can pick it up using a bucket, chuck it inside the big reactor, and it is a really good way to cool it down, keep everything efficient, and it doesn't really use that many resources in terms of the magma crucible. So what I've got is I've already got a leadstone energy cell. We just need to make ourselves a machine frame, which I pretty much have ready crafted inside this one right here. We just need to chuck in the iron around the edge. And that's done that one. And then what else do we need? So, on top of that, we need the redstone reception coil. Now, these things are just made by doing redstone and gold. That's fairly easy. I reckon we could do that quite simply. So, there's redstone on either end. And then we'll grab ourselves some gold from this little chest here. This is one of the best setups you can possibly have. It's so simple, but of course at some point we're going to move on to getting factories, and then we're going to get 3, 4, maybe even 5 ore reprocessing, which would be really amazing, but those systems do get fairly complicated quite quickly. We'll chuck that in the middle. So we've got ourselves the redstone reception coil, and then what else do we need? We need ourselves 2 copper gears. So I've got myself some copper, and I have myself a few wooden gears. So we need to make 2 of these into stone gears. So we'll put all of that round just like that. Pick those 2 up, and then we'll grab ourselves the copper, which is over in this chest once again, and we'll pick that up, and we'll put it around the cobblestone gears, and then we should be good to go in terms of getting ourselves the magma crucible. Then we're going to need to make ourselves a tank, and that will go on top of the magma crucible, and that will fill up with the redstone liquid stuff, so then we can pick it up using a bucket, and that will be good to go for the big reactor. Now, I am going to say this, I haven't used big reactors since 1.6.4. Knowing my luck, they've probably changed everything, and we don't need to do any of this sort of stuff, which is going to be a bit of a shame. But we'll place in the machine frame, leadstone energy cell, and then on either side, what else do we need? There are a few bits. I think it was nether bricks. We'll chuck those in, and then would you look at that? We've got ourselves a magma crucible. Good! So here it is, we've got the magma crucible. I've just chucked in a bunch of redstone in there, and as you can see, it is filling up the tank underneath, which is perfect. That means that the system is working, and that is a load off my shoulders, because I was, for some reason, not expecting that one to work. But if you take a look, we can grab it using a bucket. We have got ourselves some destabilized redstone. That was the word that I was looking for. I went through a ton of words before I eventually got there. But if we take a look, I'm going to just place this down outside, because this stuff, well, it essentially just looks like blood, doesn't it? I mean, it doesn't look particularly good. It's also got some strange spreading. I don't know if that's an intended feature. There does seem to be a block there, doesn't there? How odd. I hadn't even noticed those things. But they do seem to be pretty much everywhere. But anyway, that is the destabilized redstone, and that is what we are going to be using to cool our big reactor. Seriously need some factories. This here is the hole preparing for the big reactor. So as you can see from my inventory here, we've got a lot of the items to actually make the big reactor, which is a really great position to be in. As you can see, we have got ourselves a reactor controller. We've got the ender tank glass. That doesn't look particularly right. I don't know if that is the right thing to be using. It will be a little bit upsetting if it isn't, but I can't see anything else in here that would lend itself to it. So here we go. This is going to be a bit of an experiment, but we have got all of the blocks now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start constructing the big reactor. And in theory, if everything goes to plan, then it should become a multi-block structure. You'll be able to tell that happens because all of the textures will change and all of that sort of thing. So place in all of these. This is going to be a 5x5 big reactor. Don't know if this is going to be the most efficient design. Probably not, but we'll just take a look. So that's my power tap. That is where all of the power is going to be running out of. And then we will have an access port. That is where we're going to be putting all of the yellorium. And then we need ourselves a reactor controller, which is going to go in right there. So then it is just quite simply a case of putting in all of the blocks. And I hate to say it, but I don't know if I'm actually going to have enough stuff to make this big reactor. So it needs to go up like that, and then we need to go across just like this. Okay, so we've only got 25 blocks left. Probably isn't looking particularly good in terms of numbers of blocks, but it looks like we're just about going to do it, because the rest of it is going to be this ender tank stuff that probably isn't the right block at all. So let's place all of those in, and then also we're going to need to start chucking in all of the yellorium fuel rods. That is where all of the fuel is going to be going. They're fairly important because without them, obviously there will be no fuel running into it. And these all depend on how many fuel rods you have. It depends on how good the coolant is. It depends on, you know, your control rod setup. It's all a little bit complicated. And like I say, I don't know if this is going to be the most efficient design. Most probably not. It's probably going to be one of the worst. But hey ho, you might as well try these sorts of things out. So next up, we're going to chuck in the yellorium fuel rods. They're going to go in like that. Put one in the middle and then 2 on the outside. So we've got the perfect amount of those. And then in between each of these gaps, in case you're wondering, is going to be where the coolant goes. So next up, we need to place in the control rods. And then we can fill in the rest of these blocks here. So we'll place in glass like this. And then in all of these spots, there will be redstone. But did you see that? That is promising. We got ourselves a block change. Okay, so all of the textures are changed. That means that this is now registered as a big reactor. What I have to do now is take out all of these blocks that I just placed, and I need to put the coolant in, and then we will be good to go. We've got ourselves an awesome power source, guys. It's only episode 5. Our destabilized redstone has now gone in, so it is all cooled, everything should be running efficiently. We have got ourselves the multi-block structure. The zombie has come along to take a look, but we completely destroyed him. He's in bits! Oh, the atomic disassembler is such a beast. But anyway, now it is time for the moment of truth. Let's see how much energy this thing is actually going to output. I just right-clicked on the wrong thing, just completely ignore that right there. So we need to go on this, and we need to chuck in our Yellorium. That has now gone through. You can see it is full up now. So that is it. The reactor is going. Now we just need to click online. Here we go. Oh yes, that's looking good. Come on, get to 5. Get to 5. It looks like we're going to get to 5. Are we going to get to 5? Oh, we are so close to being on 5. But that is awesome. So we have got ourselves 4.7 thousand RF per tick. That's quite a lot. That is definitely a lot of RF to be outputting. Now, I have to say, you know, I am going to end up making this thing a little bit bigger because it's not the biggest reactor in the world. At one point, I want to have it like absolutely huge and a really massive area underneath the base. But for the minute, it is definitely going to do the job because, let's face it, I don't really have any hugely ambitious projects that are going to be using loads and loads of power. At least not at the minute. What on earth is that thing? Oh my god, what is it? That was a zombie's head. And they seem to really hate me at the minute. Is it dark? It is dark. I've got a night vision potion. Everybody, I have started constructing the wireframe for the base. This is the current plan of action. And as you can see, it's not particularly big, okay? I've decided that I'm not going to have a gigantic, enormous factory that I'll never ever fill up. Instead, I have gone for a slightly smaller one. And what's actually going to happen is we're going to have blocks going up like this, and it's probably only going to be about this tall, okay? So it's not going to be particularly big, and that is because I want to do a lot of my stuff underground. I would say that underground works better in modded. I don't know if it's just me, but often when I build things in modded, they become very messy, very quickly. There are wires going everywhere, different energy sources coming in, and it just gets all very messy. And I think being underground really helps you out, because if I was building up there, you have to remember that most of that building is going to be made of glass. Everyone is going to be able to see it. If I have wires going everywhere, it's not going to look that pretty. I mean, it's going to look pretty cool, okay? It is going to look pretty cool, but it's not going to look that nice, which what I'm going for is I'm going for a nice orderly base. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drop all of this marble off. I'm going to carry some of it with us because of course we have to do the roof area yet. I'm not going to be finishing the base in today's episode because I need loads of glass and I want to find a really cool type of glass. I don't want to use the normal glass because I don't particularly like that much. So we're going to be finding a new type of glass that is much better. But that is the idea for the factory at the minute, and I hope it sounds good. So the second layer is now done, and, well, you know, I said that I didn't want it to be a big, gigantic factory. It's looking pretty huge, considering I just said those exact words, but this is how big the ceiling is going to be, and as you can see, it has got pretty much the same design as the bottom layer. Now, what I think I'm going to do is I'm actually going to continue this upwards, okay? So what I'm going to do is it's going to be square from this point forth. I'll try and explain this. So it's going to go up from here. How many blocks have we got down here? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that is going to be the height of the next level, and that part is going to be square. And then, maybe, in theory, I might actually extend this part upwards so that we have ourselves almost a pyramid. I might be going mad. I don't know if this is actually going to look any good. I might keep it at this level, or perhaps just extend this middle part here, skipping these bits. Ooh, it's tough. Building was never my thing, okay? Building large scale definitely never was my thing. So I don't really know. I think that might be an idea. What I just suggested there might be something that I try out. Obviously, this is just a wireframe at the minute. It doesn't really matter. We can take it down. The atomic disassembler absolutely destroys marble. I mean, if I want to remove something, it's gone. Okay, it's gone immediately. And it's not like we're running low on marble, because I have got something like 7,500 marble. So we're not doing too badly there. Now, in terms of the inside, the interior area, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use stone and slabs. You know, the slightly whiter ones, slightly lighter ones, they're going to go in the middle, and that should look pretty good. Now, in the inside here, I don't know if I mentioned this, But at the minute, we've got this marble here. That's not going to be staying. My plan is that we're going to have the big reactor being the same size as this inside area. So what I'll do is I'll take out all of these blocks here, and we'll be able to see the big reactor. You can see all of the coolants, and it all looks very, very cool indeed. Alright? At the minute, the future base of Mumbo Jumbo is looking like a bit of a geometric mess. Oh boy, there's a lot of stuff going on. This is a lot for the eyes to take in, okay? I can imagine that this is a bit of an illusion. It looks like the Penrose Triangle or something like that, because this has got a lot of blocks and not a whole lot of actual structure, okay? At the minute, it's just a wireframe model. Now, it's quite hard to base it off just a wireframe model. At the minute, I would say it looks pretty decent. You never really know until you start chucking in all the blocks. But I would say that once we get ourselves in a floor, and then we get ourselves in a floor on this level, and then a floor on this level, it will all start to look a little bit more solid, a little bit more structural, and you might be able to understand exactly what's going on just a little bit more. Because like I say, at the minute, it does look like I've just placed down a bunch of rectangles. It's like an ultra-modern new build. And I have to admit, for some strange reason, and I know I've said this multiple times before now, but I really, really like the way that this looks. I think it looks quite cool. I don't know what it is. I think it's because it's so different to anything that I have ever built or anything that I would ever build. Let's face it, on Hermitcraft, would I ever put this in my base? Definitely not. This is the sort of thing that a fresh start gives you, and it's always quite exciting. And we have also got a very cheap white block to work with, because obviously on Hermitcraft, I'd have to build this using quartz, and that wouldn't be so fun. That last cut that you just saw was a little while in the past. We are now 2 days in advance, and I just hopped back online to take a look at the build that we were doing, and I have to admit, having taken a look at it, slept on it and all that sort of thing, I'm not 100% convinced. It's a little bit more grey than I remembered, and that might be throwing me off a tiny bit. So what I want you to do, head down to the comment section, let me know if you like the build, or if you hate the build. Obviously, if you all hate the build, then I'm going to have to take it all down and start again, which will be a bit of a shame, because I quite like the idea, I just don't really know how I'm going to go about doing it. But anyway, the last thing that I have planned for today's episode is I want to make myself a dimension changer. Now, I've seen these before, I think they are really quite awesome. They require a lot of resources, but I reckon we'll just about be able to do it. So we need a ton of diamonds, a few Eye of Enders, few Ender Pearls, and also one of these things. So what I thought we'd do is we will make the thing in the middle right now, so that involves a stone pickaxe. So I think we could do that. I think we can manage that. I've crafted a few of those in my time, and then we need a stick down at the bottom, we need a flint and steel in the middle, and then stone bricks on either side just like that. And would you look at that? We have got ourselves a mining multi-tool. Now, I have no idea what this thing does, come to think about it. What is it? 0% of this tool is already used. If we use it, will it use up some durability? You know what? I'm almost considering making another one. I don't have another flint, but I would like to try these out. I mean, I'm sure it's not as good as the atomic disassembler, but that might be something for the future. But anyway, let's continue making this thing. So we need to chuck that down in the middle. First off, we need to make ourselves a few Eye of Enders. So I believe that's just like that. So we've got those two as well. We'll chuck those in. And then we need the Ender Pearls on the other axis. And we need the diamonds in all of the corners there. And there we go. We have got ourselves a dimension changer. Now, I don't really know how this works. I'm going to assume that you right click on it. Ooh, this is strange. Wow. How odd. Oh, that was awesome. I'm elsewhere. That was cool. Let me do that again. Is that intended behavior, or is that just not working particularly well? We fire it, and then I've released. Okay, cool. We are now in the mining world, and I might as well show you. Wow, these are not my quarries. They are not my quarries at all. I was gonna say, there is a lot of them there, but this is the sort of thing that we have going on in the mining world as far as I'm concerned. I have got a ton of quarries dotted around a bit like this, and they are going right the way down to the bottom. We have got loads and loads of resources, and what I think I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set myself up with another quarry so that I can get some resources in between episodes. But unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that is all I've got time for today. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to hit that like button, and if you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Mumbo. and I'm out. I'll see you later.